So in today's session, we are going to learn where the software testing exactly will start. So what are the different activities we'll do in the software testing process, and what are the different types of documents we will prepare, and different types of roles and responsibilities each and in each and every phase of software testing that we are going to discuss as part of STLC. So STLC means software testing lifecycle. So in the previous session, we have seen SDLC. SDLC means software development lifecycle, and this is software testing lifecycle. So it says about full development process from the beginning and taking requirement from the customer, then design, then coding, testing, maintenance, each and every part of SDLC. Now I'm talking about STLC. So it means for software testing process. So STLC is a part of SDLC, and it means wherever the testing phase will started, where the exactly we apply software testing lifecycle. Even STLC have different phases. So there are requirement analysis, test planning. This is test case design. Test case development means test design. So environment setup means test execution and after test design, there is one phase is called environment setup, and after that, test execution, and after that, test cycle closure means defect reporting or bug reporting and tracking, and this is test closure. So let us understand in detail of each and every phase. So requirement analysis. So we already know about it, right? So we will get some documents, FRS document, SRS, BRS document, and we will get requirement from the client, and that we can understand the application functionality. Apart from this, the main phases is called test planning. Okay, test planning will start from test planning phase. So during test planning, what you will do is I will show another image. So during test planning, what we'll do, we are mainly focused on three things. So before doing any action, we should have a proper plan. Then the rest of the things will go as per the plan. Okay. So test planning means what? In the last, in the first activity is test planning phase, right? So in test planning, we do what to test, how to test, and when to test. Okay. What to test, how to test, and when to test. So we are mainly focused on three things. So what exactly we have to test on our application, and what are the different scenarios to be tested, and what are the scenarios that need to be tested. So those things we are going to identify, that is what to test. This is one. So that should include in test planning. So we will prepare a small document, that is test plan document. So in that particular document, we will mention all these things like what to test and how to test. So we have identified certain scenarios, and then how we can conduct the testing, and what kind of testing we have to conduct, and what are the different automation tools that we have to use. So these are all comes under how to test. So then, first we need to know what to test, then we need to know how to test and when to test. So because we have a different cycles, right? And each and every cycle have a certain period of time. And we have to specify a time exactly from which date to which date. That we have to conduct the testing, and how many hours each and every testing we have to conduct, like smoke testing, regression testing, personal testing. So how many hours spent on these testings. So that is what to, I mean, that is when to test. So this is the main three things that we are planning to test. The test planning phase is the initial phase, in that we know what to test, how to test, and when to test. So now start test planning phase, and what are the inputs? What are the input documents that we require? So we require a documents, project plan, and functional requirements. Requirement document, and these are the input we require. So what is the project plan? What is the project plan means? and who will prepare that? So project manager or product manager will prepare the project plan, and it is very high level document, so which includes the timelines. So when exactly the customer or client project is approved, and when we have to start, and when we have to deliver the product to the client, all the duration will be a part of project planning, including budget, timing, technical, hardware. Every requirement will be a part of project plan. So from the project plan we will know the duration of the project, and based on that, so we can plan our test. So that's the reason we refer project plan, and we don't prepare any project plan. And this is comes from the high level management and functional requirement. So functional requirement, we also have to know from FRS document. So functional requirement specification document, we need to understand the functionality, because we have to identify the scenario, what to test and how to test and when to test. So these things we will know based on the project plan, and what to test we will know based on the functional requirement. So it says what are the different features or functionalities. So we have to test from the application. Now, what are the activities we do in this phase? So first activity is we have to identify the resources. So this is done by the lead level or test manager level task. It is not done by the test engineer. So people who having 15 years or 17 years experience, 15 to 17 years experience, senior guys perform the test plan. So the main activity is identify the resources. So resources means what? So software and hardware resources. Suppose my project is there and I don't have a proper people or testers, what I will do? I just conduct some interviews, right? And I recreate the people who having the same kind of skill sets. And we need to, or suppose project itself, there are some other people, they don't have any ideal project. Then some of the people will choose based upon the skill sets. That is identifying the resources. And also hardware and software environment. To perform testing. To perform testing, what is the kind of hardware we require, and how many machines we require, like how many software we require. So all these things we identify during test planning itself. That is identifying the resources. Next, team formation. So team formation means once the people or resources are recruited, identified, we form a team, a testing team, like so and so people conduct manual testing, so and so people conduct automation testing, like this. So team formation will be there, depends upon the project. So we will form the testing team, that is also a part of testing planning phase. So this estimation. So we will estimate the time for testing, like total duration of the project, or total duration of the development process. Suppose when I say 3 months of project, which includes software, requirement analysis, designing, coding, testing, everything. So during 3 months of project, how much time we have to spend on testing phase? How many days spent in testing phase? Like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That is test estimation. So to estimate the time based upon the requirement, so project plan and the duration, by keeping these all in your mind, we will prepare the estimation. We can call it as test estimation. So like how many days total testing will be conducted. Again, we will split those number of days into multiple parts, like smoke testing, sanity testing, functional testing, or writing the test cases, preparing the test plan, reviewing. So all these things are, and we can say defect reporting, how many defects is fixed. By considering all these activities, we will estimate some time, and that time we will specify in the document. So test estimation means time taken for the testing. So preparation of test plan. Hmm. Preparation of test plan means here we prepare test plan documents. So it is a document which contains all the planning activities. That means what to test, what not to test, and what are the different kinds of testing that we have to conduct. And when we have to conduct the testing, what are the team members are involved. So all these things included in the test plan. So test plan means what we are going to do and what kind of testing that we are going to do and what kind of people involving. So when we are conducting the testing, all these things we put in one document that is called test plan document. So it is prepared by test lead, and this is a more management level activity. So test plan is a document which contains the type of testing, features to be testing, features not to be testing, schedules, resources, timelines, everything will be a part of test plan. So preparation of the test plan document is the main activity. So during testing, then reviews, reviews on test plan. So once this document is created, reviews the test plan by team along with the project manager. So that is a review on the test plan. And finally, test plan sign off. So once you prepare the test plan, we get the sign off on test plan to proceed further. So you have some plan and you have to start implement on the plan, and you need the approval from the management or project manager or project management. So they will review the test plan and they will give the sign off. Sign off in the sense they will give the official mail after reviewing the test plan. Like so and so content is fine. So approving the test plan and you can guys proceed with that. So that is a kind of email which we called it as sign off email. So these are the main activities we do as part of test planning. And we don't jump directly into testing. We have to go and follow some certain process. Next, responsibility. So during this phase, normal test engineers won't be involved. So most of the time, the main role is team lead or test lead. So the role of test lead is 70% because he has to do all the activities and few activities like test planning and sign off, reviews on test plan, and these things done by the manager. Okay. And their role is almost 30%, we can say. So only test lead and test manager are involved in this particular phase. And what is the outcome after completion of this phase? Test plan document. So this is the outcome. So the outcome is test plan document. This is the one of the important phase in STLC after understanding the requirement. So STLC is the one of the important phase. Okay. Is it clear, guys?
Just one thing. In a input documents, so there will be function requirements, but in
Yeah.
the project planning, is there any documents involved or the use cases or what is the exact procedure?
So you asking about use case document.
Yeah, that
Hello?
is the documents will be involved in preparing the test plan document, right?
Yeah.
So apart from this, what are things are exactly what is this project planning involved in?
So you mean to say, so what are the exact things are involved in project plan or in functional requirements?
Yes, yes, yes.
So see, just a minute. So project plan. So 1 minute. So project plan means already we know that, right? So in project plan, there are inputs. First of all, I in the beginning I will say project plan in so there are two inputs. One is project plan and one is functional requirement, right? So what here? So 1 minute, guys. Just give a minute. I'm drinking water. Yeah. I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So in the first phase, the test planning phase, and what are the input documents that we required? So project plan and functional requirements, right? And these are the inputs we required. So in project plan, it is prepared by product manager or project manager. Okay. And here, so what I'm saying, it is a very high level document. So who exactly the customer project, I mean, when exactly the customer project is approved, um, and when we have to start and when we have to deliver the product to the client, all the duration will be part of project planning. So here in this project plan, um, what things are involved when we have to start, when we have to deliver the product to the client, including budget, timings, what is the technology, which software and which hardware we required. So every requirement will be a part of project plan. So from the project plan, we will know the duration of the project, and based on that, we can plan our test. Okay, that's why this is the reason we refer project plan. And we are not part of this project plan. We don't prepare this document. So this is, uh, I mean, this project plan prepared by only product or project manager and functional requirement. So functional requirement specification document already we learned this, right? We need to understand the functionality. So because we have to identify the scenario and what to test and how to test and when to test, right? So these things we have to know based on the project plan, and what to test we will know based on the functional requirement. So, what are the different features? What are the different functionalities we have to test from the application? So, these things are involved in functional requirement specification document. Yeah, Kiran?
Yeah, got it. But yeah, for preparing, as in at the level which I am in currently, at 9 years of experience, so people ask to prepare this test plan documents. So the reason, the thing is, I want to make sure how this test plan document is exactly prepared. As in,
Okay.
so for the documentation preparation, so do we get any clients, as in like a BRD or FSG documents, right? So it's related to specific uh, uh, uh,
Are
the
you
functional
prepared
flows
project?
and the about the application flows and everything. Okay.
Okay.
So, but for the requirement related, what, how many the team size is required, and functional and the non-functional, what all devices are required, and the time duration. There will be some documents which will be shared by the client as well, right? Based on which we
Yeah.
prepare the
Yeah.
test plan document. So, is there any such documents which we get for preparing this test plan document?
So, are you prepared project plan document or test plan document?
Project plan.
Project plan
As in,
document.
isn't I meant to say the test plan document.
So, see, the project plan is kind of different, and test plan document is kind of different. So, what are the things you involved in project plan document? So, whatever I have said, so that things are involved in project plan, right? And you are going to prepare that.
Yeah, but for filling the documents, the resource size or the project size, the what methodologies we are going to implement, as we should also be implement as an add that into our test plan document, right? So
Yeah.
how many duration, how many team size,
Mhm.
if any
Yeah.
exit entry criteria. So there are
Yeah.
multiple factors which we have to consider in preparing the test plan. So do we get such as in from the client as well?
Yeah. Correct. So, what is your doubt, and you want
So do we get
some more
any
clarity?
document from a client? And what is that document called, or how do we prepare the test plan based on this? In what we have any document given shared by client, or how's it?
So you want any sample document
Mm. Yes.
or what? So sample document, I don't have any sample
No, no, no,
documents
not a sample
because
document. Like, let's say, my thing is, I in test plan document there is an entry exit criteria.
mm,
There is how many resources should involved, and the strength of the project with methodologies uh, we are using, like agile or
mm,
waterfall. So that is
yeah,
involved in test plan, in a test plan, right?
mm,
So
yeah.
my question over here is, in what, how a project manager decides to which this all functionalities to be involved, the risk and mitigation plans. So how this is implemented in a project, on what basis? There should be some as in document or baseline, right? Based on which he
Yeah.
decides.
See, it depends on some documents. So they refer the documents and they decided. And there should be some meetings, right? So based on that conversation, they have to decide. So simply we go and simply we don't decide.
Yeah, yeah, that
Okay,
that
this.
only. So yeah,
Hmm,
so are you aware what is the how this process takes place? So they need
no,
to sign off from the client as well, right? So this are we going to plan, and this is the these are the outputs we are going to as in plan for this project. So based on which they have some agreement between the client and
hmm,
or the test plan is only the only agreement which the client has to follow.
yeah. So I never involved in this space. So that is the point, first thing.
Okay, okay. Then no worries. It's okay.
Yeah. So just to know how it's going and what is the process of that in test planning, what we do. But in theoretically, I have an idea. But in practical, those people are not involved still.
No worry,
Okay.
no worries. That's okay. Because people ask in interview rounds, so
Yeah.
how do we prepare test plan documents? So test plan documentation, that is all theoretical for me as well. But actually preparing the baseline of or the agreements with the client, so that is not known yet to me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's completely based upon the client client requirements, or you are saying, right?
There are multiple factors involved, but based on the previous knowledges also, we can prepare. But
Mm,
yeah, still, I am also taught not fully aware of how this is done as a process. But I have
okay.
prepared few documents, test plan documents, but still,
So in test plan documents, what are the things that you involved in that? So
what
what
we
the
did,
points? What
there
the
are
points that you mentioned?
there are scopes. What is the scope of what we are testing, as in for the project or the release? Then description of the project, then how many test cases can be involved, how many modules are there, the risk and mitigations, entry exit
Oh,
criteria. So entry exit criteria are when to enter, as in when to start the testing and when to stop the testing. So there are
yeah.
multiple factors, and the
Mm,
references we have. We
mm,
have how many resources are there, any plan for their leave plans, and the or any resources are yet to be added. Functional, non-functional testing is involved, or manual and automation is also will be involved. So there are multiple things are there.
okay. So in test plan document, you already involved and you prepared the document, right?
Yes.
So you have any knowledge on that document. Yeah. Thanks for the info, Kiran. Shall I
Mm.
want to so theoretically I know, but practically I want to know these things. So that's why I'm asking you.
Yes, yes, me too. But I have done only two documents, but more in depth, I need to know how this is done. Yeah,
Okay,
then
okay.
it's a
Mm. So, okay, thank you, Kiran. So, so the next phase we will call as test design phase. So during this phase, it will start after completion of test planning phase. And here we refer few documents. So what are the inputs for test planning designing? So the main activity in test designing is writing the test cases. So this is the major task of test engineer. So test engineer first and most important responsibility is writing the test cases, understanding the requirement accordingly, writing the test cases. So everything will be covered. I mean, so everything in the covered in upcoming sessions. So the main activity is writing the test cases. So the document required here is project plan. So functional requirement and test plan, designing documents and the use cases documents. So we will refer all these documents during the test design phase. So project plan contains, we already know, schedules, timings, so on, so on. So functional requirement, it is the main part contains what all are features to be tested and how the application will behave and what you are expecting from the application. So the functionality of the application will be a part of functional requirement, and that is a main document during test design phase. Test plan also we will refer because in the test plan, um, we mentioned what are the features to be tested, like Kiran said. So what are the few features to be tested, what not to be tested. So all these things considered in test plan document. And sometimes design documents refer. So because if you want to know the UI level, UI means user interface level requirement, like how many buttons should be there, how many test boxes should be there, where the logs should display. So what kind of font should display in the application. So if we want to know all these things, those things will be a part of design document. And sometimes we need to take help of design documents to understand the functionality more better and then use cases. So use case document is the part of requirement, which is also part of the functional requirement. And use cases describes the requirement, which will help us to understand the requirement more clearly. And basically the diagrammatic format. The use cases will be there. And by seeing the diagram itself, we can understand what are the different flows and that we can test on the application. So use case is nothing but a requirement which describes the requirement by taking help of use case which can clearly understand the functionality of the application. So that is the part of functional requirement. So these are the different documents and inputs we have to take during test designing phase. Then what are the activities we perform? So preparation of test scenarios. So preparation of test cases, reviews on test cases, traceability matrix, test case sign off. So what are the activities we perform during test designing? So these are the main activities that we are going to perform. So we will discuss each and every activity in detail. So each and every activity we will perform practically. First we will understand the process. The main activity during test designing is preparation of test scenarios. It means what to test in your application. There is a login box, that is one scenario, right? And what are the test cases? Once you identify the test scenario, like what are the different areas to be tested? So they are comes under test scenarios. Once you identify the area to be tested, we have to write the test cases to test that particular part. For example, there is a login screen. So login is a scenario. And to test the scenario, we write multiple test cases like what are the test cases? Enter valid username, enter password. So click on the login. So user able to log in successfully. That is one test case. And what is another test case? Provide invalid username and invalid password. Clicking on the submit button and it should be restricted, should not able to log in. That is another test case. So similarly, one scenario, we can create multiple test cases. So here, the main activity is prepare the test scenario. That is the first activity. So based on the scenarios, we will write test cases. Another example is Amazon website, Amazon.com. So you want to verify your product and you can able to select the product, right? And you can able to add a product to the cart and do the payment. This is the process, right? And that we have to test. So we do certain steps. So first login application, then search for the product, and then add the product to the cart, then provide the address, then do the payment. So these are the steps that we have to do to test the functionalities. That is called test case. So test case is nothing but step-by-step process to perform to test the functionality of the feature. Based on the test scenario, we will create multiple test cases. So these are all documents and it is in the form of Word or Excel. Review on test cases. So as a tester, I got some from the application and I have written some test cases. So sometimes I may miss some kind of test cases. Right. And while reviewing the test cases, some test cases may not be valid. And sometimes I have written few number of test cases and I may miss some areas which will not be covered as part of the test cases. So what we will do is as soon as we completed the test cases, first review with the peers. That is called peer review. So peer review means so whatever the test cases you prepared, you review the test cases with your colleague who is working on the same team. They will review everything and this review conducted within the team. So that is first review after completion of test cases. And your team help you and add the test cases like you take a help from your team and based on the help you to modify the test cases. And once the peer review is completed, then you review the test cases with the development and project manager also. So that means overall involved in the project, including development, testing, project manager, everyone. So everyone sit together officially and conduct the meeting, and that is called review meeting. So earlier we discussed reviews, walkthrough, inspection. So by using any of the technique team will be reviewed. So reviews on the tested cases is mandatory. So why we conduct the reviews? Because you have written the test cases, you may not add some scenarios, you may miss some scenarios because everyone thinking process will be different. So you may miss some corner test cases. Once you put the review, everybody will see your test cases. Everybody will suggest you what kind of changes you have to do and what are the new test cases you have to add and what you have covered, what you have not covered. Everything, everybody will help you to changes on the test case design documents. And this review will happen in multiple rounds, not only in single review. So test case designing part will take a lot of time, and most of the time, we'll spend time on test case designing. The main intention of test case is to catch the bugs in your application. So this will play very important role, and this takes a lot of time, and more number of people will be involved. So next, traceability matrix. So suppose whatever the test cases we have created, for example, there is 100 test cases. For what requirement I created? This 100 test cases, that means requirement ID, and corresponding test cases. So what is the requirement and what are the corresponding test cases I have written? So the mapping document you will prepare and it is a kind of Excel file. Mapping document means what you will mention all the requirements. For each requirement, you have written test cases. You have to specify the requirement IDs. So the mapping between the requirement and the test cases is called a small document you will prepare, and that is called RTM. RTM means requirement traceability matrix. In the simple words, we can say what are the requirements we have covered and what are the requirements we have not covered for particular test case. Okay. So finally, test case sign off. So everybody should sign off, like developer, QA test lead, project manager, product manager, and customers, whoever giving the requirement to you. From everybody, you have to get the sign off of the test cases. And then only we proceed for execution. Until unless sign off, you should not proceed further. And it is very important. So sign off means they will send an email. Email means official email. So the document will reviewed and so content we have to modify. And with this, you will guys prepared with execution. We will get the email from development team, product team, and everyone. And once you sign off the document, we will proceed for the next phase. So these are the main activities we do as part of test designing. Why we having this sign off? Because this is a safety purpose. Today I have written 100 test cases, and so I have not reviewed with anybody and any sign off, and then I started my execution and testing. And testing cycles are done. So finally, what happened? Suppose in production, somewhere in production environment, somewhere the customer found some bug. Immediately, what happens? They will try to blame the testing team. So this bug is arrived from the production environment. So customer found some bug, whether it is tested or not. Then directly will blame the testing team. So what testing team will do now? First, testing team will check for corresponding test cases that we have or not. That's very important. If the test cases is not there in your document, then definitely there is a problem and mistake for tester. And one more thing, even though you miss something and bug is coming from the production, the test case is not there in the document and we reviewed already with the team. Nobody telling about that scenario. So that's why you have not included in the document. So in that case, you have sign off also. So everybody will approve the test cases for further procedure. In that case, nobody will blame you because you have already reviewed your test cases with everybody. So they approved everything. In that case, nobody will blame you. So that is the main thing for further procedure. We need a sign off. So sign off is nothing but it is a proof from others we have reviewed these documents and it is well documented. And we proceed with that. So responsibilities. So test lead or team lead 30%. So because he will involved during reviews and he will get the approval from all team members. And test engineering role 70%. So because all activities done by the test engineer. So preparation of the test scenarios, test cases, reviews, requirement traceability matrix, most of the activities done by the testers. So test engineer's responsibility involved in 70% and test lead 30%. And outcome is what? Once the test designing is completed, what you will get? Test cases document. This is one outcome. So test case document will be approved and sign off is the outcome and traceability matrix also. So these are the two documents that we get as the outcome after completion of the test designing phase. So the third phase is execution. Once the test cases are ready or approved, then we go for test execution phase. And this is very important aspect. So in this phase, we referred functional requirements, test plan. See here, this is the input functional requirement test plan, test cases, and build for development team. So these are the documents which already prepared in the earlier phases. What are those? Functional requirement test plan. Okay. Apart from the main thing is build from development team. So before getting the build, it means a piece of software which contains few number of features because developer will develop in one shot all the features. So they will develop multiple builds. So developers will not develop in one shot, right? All the features. So they are going to develop in multiple builds from the development team. To start the execution, we need to have build from development team. Before getting the build from developer, at that time we have to complete these activities like planning, designing, everything should complete and ready for build. So we get the build from the developer, and by the time we should ready with the test cases, test plan, everything. And even we have to set up the environment also. So these are the inputs for test execution. Then here, what are the activities we have to perform? Executing test cases. So whatever test cases we have written in the previous phase, the same test cases will be executed under the test. What are all test cases we have written in the Excel file? All the test cases are executed one after another, and again we'll define the phases. And first to we give a priority to the test cases, like what test cases we have to execute first and what test case we'll execute next. So based on the prior test cases, we will execute those things. And those first test cases we will execute, like smoke test cases. Means basic functionality we will execute. So whatever the build contains, that is stable or not, installation is successful or not, navigation is working or not, and also we will conduct the sanity testing. Then we proceed with the functional testing. So based on the testing type, we will prior our test cases like P1 test cases, P2 test cases, P3 test cases. So P1, P2, P3, what is that? We will know in the further session. Based on the prior, we will execute the test cases. This is the first thing. And second thing is, while executing the test cases, so you have to do parallelly, you have to do prepare test case report also. So day-to-day basis, at the end of the day, you have to send the report to the management. How many test cases have executed today? How many test cases got passed? How many test cases got failed? This kind of information you will prepare in the report. So, and which is also called as test log topics. So we will prepare one document and we will keep all the test cases status. So like pass, fail, or block, all these status will keep them in one document or in report or in Excel and send to the management team. And identify the defects is the main activity in test execution. So as soon as you executed the test case and you have to check the actual behavior and expected behavior, whatever you expected, you do some action. For example, after performing action, how the application giving the response, whether it is expected response or not. If there is any mismatch between an expected and actual result, you can consider as bug and you can report to the developer. And identify the bug is the main activity during test execution. So we will prepare test report also. These are the activities we do normally. Okay. And what is the responsibility? Test lead 10% because he just monitor the activities, whether the test engineer is working fine or not, everyone properly executing the test cases or not, are they facing any issues like environment issues or resources issues, he will take care of that. And test engineer 90%. So executing the test cases, preparation of test report, identifying the bugs, every activity done by the test engineer itself. So finally, the outcome is status or test reports. So this is the test execution phase after completion of test design and test execution will start. So once the execution is completed, defect reporting and tracking will happen. So I have listed a separate phase, but this is also included in the test execution because as soon as executing the test case, while executing the test cases, you found some mismatch between expected result and actual result. Then what you will do? You will report the defect, right? And defect reporting is also happened during execution time itself. So in the defect reporting and tracking, we refer the test cases and the test reports. And here is the main thing is preparing defect report. And initially we prepared one Excel file and keep on adding one defect list. And as soon as report the defect to developer, we can keep also tracking the defects in Excel sheet because we can just note down there like how many bugs rise, how many bugs fix, how many bugs not fix, and how many bugs still open. So we can track the defects information and further prepare defect report itself. So these are the main activities during defect reporting and tracking phase. And what is test lead? 10%. So 10% test engineer 90%. So test lead just monitor the process and what are the activities and how it's going on. And for for test engineer actually perform the activities and what is the outcome here. That is outcome. What is the outcome? Defect report. So the final phase is sign off or closure. So here we are stopping our testing. So once you completed all activities, we have executed test cases, you found number of bugs, you reported them and developer fix it. So again, you have retested it. So confirm everything according to their requirement and test cases. So finally, we will stop testing. This is called test closure. I mean, here the main input is test report and defect report. Before the signing off the testing, we have to conduct a meeting with all the team and reviewed we have to do. So test report we have to review whether all test cases executed or not, and all the test cases are passed or not. So we have to review them, and defects also have to review, like how many defects are raised, how many defects got fixed, how many defects got rejected, and how many defects still open. So what are the defects are open? That is minor or major. If it is major, we must fix it by developer. And if it is minor, that we will not affect on the business functionality. There is a criteria we have to follow. And when we have to exit the testing, that we have some criteria. It is depends on company to company, and we have to follow some should we have to follow certain criteria. If it is satisfied, then we can exit from the testing. Here, mainly we reviewed test report and defect report. So, what are the activities we do? Analyze the test report, analyze bug report, and evaluating exit criteria. And this is another important thing we have to exit from the test, that criteria defined in the test plan itself. So, normally, what is the criteria? So, let us say normally you have bugs like P1, P2, P3 bugs. P1 means high critical bugs, and P2 means major bugs. P3 means minor bugs. Even though having your application have P3 bugs, business functional. P3 means minor bugs. Business functional will not broken or any impacted. So it is very minor bugs. And sometimes criteria will be P3 bugs. I mean, two or three or P3 bugs will be there. So, but there is no P1 and P2. That is the criteria. So your application have two or three P3 bugs, but no P1, P2. So if your criteria is matched, then release the product to customer. So 100% bug free will not be there. In interview, if they ask you, can you deliver 100% free bug quality product to the customer or zero bug? So you can say no. So somewhere some underlinks will be there, which we can't identify. So those defects found from the customer side after few months or years. So max to max, we should try to, there is no P1, P2, P3 defects, and very minor defected should be have that will not be impacted on the application. So when we deliver to the customer. So these are the part of evaluation meeting. So evaluation or exit criteria, we have to check accordingly, sign off our testing, and we will release the product to the next phase or UAT testing will be there and start using the product. So these are the phases involved in SDLC. So test lead 70% and test engineer 30%. So test lead or manager has to decide whether we exit the testing or not by understanding these documents, and test engineer 30%. So finally we will have uh, test summary reports. So it means which includes everything: test report, test plan, test cases, RTM, defect reports, test reports. So finally, we will hand over to customer also. So this is also all about STLC, software testing lifecycle. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So next we will see what are the test plan contents and what is this. You already, Kiran, this is the points, right? That you prepared the document. Kiran, are you there, guys? Kiran?
Yes, I'm there.
So this is the test plan points, right? That you are prepared.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, okay. From here, we will know in tomorrow's session, okay? So test plan content and use case document already. We came to know about what is use case document and what is test suite and what is the test case. And another document is,
Okay.
so this is test case template and what is RTM and how we prepare and test environment, test execution, defect or bug, and what are the contents that we need to mention defect report in defect report, and what is severity and priority. So we will know in further session. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So see you tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Rajesh, yeah, thank you, Kiran. And Rajesh, you got it right, whatever I have said, because this is new for you, right?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
go through it once again.
If you're not,
I got it. Yes.
uh, yeah, if you're not understanding anything, please, you can ask and you can ping me also. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Rajesh. Okay, Kiran.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Um,
Yes.
bye. Take care and
Yeah,
have a
bye.
good day. Thank you so much.